presented by Horns and Hooves Entertainment. You are watching Buffalo After Dark.
Hi, welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is Wednesday, January 26th, and we have an old friend back with us. Lewfie, it's been a while. How's it going?
Yay!
And we have
Bobby, shut the fuck up. This is my intro. Shut up. Anyways, I don't know. I've been indisposed for a few weeks. I've had some stuff going on. I always kept always kept up to date on what's going on and stuff. So I'm here now, so it's all that matters.
Yeah, it's nice to have you back.
Well, it's definitely good to have you back for sure, dude. We miss you, man.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna say, we haven't done this in a while, but what kind of weed you smoking tonight?
It's called Indica Lights.
Nice.
And it's good. It's good.
Very cool.
This just sounds like something you would just like smoke while you're on acid or something like that.
Plus you got the nice little Bud Light going with you too.
Of course, as always, I'm patented fucking weed, Bud Light. This is how I roll.
You got it. And then of course, Sean and Bobby, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing good, man. Besides the fact that I'm still trying to process what happened Sunday, man.
Ooh, I hear you. We will definitely talk about that a little bit today.
The best way I came through stuff that was like I was like, you know what, a pretty rough day. I just went and got laid. That's what I do.
You just kind of let it whip.
You gotta release your demons. That's how it goes.
You know what? At this point, I think the Bills will eventually get back to glory. I mean, I fully suspect that they're gonna, take that loss and they're just gonna be just as rejuvenated as they were the year before.
Yeah, it's very true. And that's a good way to look at it too. And, we'll jump right into it. So, of course, if anyone wants to chime in, of course, you can give us a call 929-205-6099. Akeem is in the chat, actually. We haven't seen him in a long time. And he said, basically, how's it going? And he's still messed up from that game. And, let's talk about it. So the biggest thing, and probably one of the best playoff games in the entire playoffs this year, and probably one of the best in God knows how long, it all came down to the coin toss, and the Bills ended up losing in overtime. But I also got to throw this on the defense too, because, 13 seconds, and it's an eternity. The defense was gassed, but one of the problems that we've run into quite a bit over the season is problems with the blocking, and then the O-line blocking is absolutely brutal because same thing. You run into issues with coverage. You can't block that well. And really the defense needs to get quicker. It wasn't Josh that lost the game. It was the defense that lost the game.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, I was talking about this with my dad the other night, and he said what he told me was pretty much on point. Our defensive backs or whatever. Laser thing, the Chiefs receivers had a whole lot of gap. Our defenders couldn't cover the gap. I think what we should have done was try to pressure the receivers. And I don't know, man. Again, granted, like you said, the defense was gas and all, but come on, man. At least still try to pressure the receivers, man, so that way they don't get close to field goal range.
For me at this point, there's a lot to be asking about. It's like, number one is, who would have thought, honestly, at this point, all they needed was 13 seconds, right? So everybody thought Buffalo was going to win that game. All they had to do was stop 2 plays and game over. But instead of doing what they should have done, was a 4-3 defense or a 4-6 defense, or even somewhere close to that range. And instead, Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott were way too overcommitted to commit to a prevent defense penalty or whatever it was. And it just completely left Travis Kelce wide open. And it was just like, dude, what are you guys doing? And then the next thing you know, everybody just labeled the Bills as this big choke artist. And I'm just like, well, the Bills only had the lead for 1 minute and a half of the entire game. So I wouldn't say it was a complete disaster as far as execution-wise because the offense was amazing. Josh Allen was incredible, but the defense completely failed on him.
Yeah, I gotta say, best game of Josh's career, probably. I mean, out of everything he's done the last 4 years, I mean, easily I would have to say it's probably the best game I've ever seen him play. And he had that offense fired on all cylinders, basically. I mean, look at what Sanders did. Look at Gabe Davis had a career day, over 200 yards.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
Holy
I
crap.
mean, he had a coming out party at the right time. And then you look at, of course, basically from that point, Stephon Diggs was shut down for most of the game. Beasley was all right, but our tight end was basically who we relied on, and he got us the scores. And it's just one of those things. The problem that I'm seeing a lot of it is the speed, especially with the defense, and we're getting older on it. And Hakeem actually said, we were terrified, man, scared of their speed.
Well,
Yeah,
this
go ahead.
is my point on it is that okay? So you look at the number one thing, like Bobby said, 13 seconds left, 2 plays. You could have shut them down, gassed or not. You want to win the game or don't you want to win the game? And the other thing I look at is like you can't. If you criticize the Bills for that game, you are not a fan because there's nothing they did other than the last 13 seconds that was like the failure part of the game. I watched the game, and like at the last play when the Bills were still down, I was like, okay, well, it's over. And then Josh Allen pulled a clutch fucking move again, right? So you can't blame this on the offense at all. You can't blame it on Josh Allen for damn well sure. It's just like Tom said, they were gassed. They were fucking. Your defensive line is probably too slow, and it happens. But that coin toss, fucking coin toss.
Oh my gosh, man!
I
feel like okay. So here's my opinion on the matter. So if I was this like the NFL commissioner right now, I'd be like, you know what? In the regular season, it's fine. Have a coin toss because it doesn't really matter at this point. Well, it does matter, but it doesn't. But in the playoffs, dude, I'd have like the best running back on each team start at the end of their touchdown at their end, put the ball in the middle of the fucking field and see who gets to it first and see who controls it. That's a better idea than a fucking coin toss.
Yeah.
So, in other words, you would rather adopt the XFL rule where you put the ball at the 50-yard line and you fight for it.
Fucking right.
Yeah. And actually, you're not the only one that's thought that, because a lot of people are saying that the NFL should like really look at the XFL rules and adopt it.
Yeah.
No.
But even then, because the Chiefs scored last in the fourth quarter, so in my mind, that should have went right to the Bills. But at the same time, even if in my mind, if the Bills scored, okay, so say if they had the ball in the OT and they scored, they should at least have 4 downs to come back and try to score.
Right. Another argument I've heard all week was that the NFL should at least adopt the college football rule where if one team scores in overtime, the opposing team gets a chance to do it all again. And then it keeps going until there's a winner.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And you know what's ironic also? The Chiefs had the same problem a few years back.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah. And they still didn't make any changes in the OT rules from it. And the Chiefs were totally on board with getting that to happen, and it just never happened. But I mean, to your point about the college football OT rules, I mean, they've got to do something because, I mean, a good playoff game like this should not be decided just on a coin toss. I mean,
absolutely.
It should never happen.
Never.
Yeah,
that was basically the Super Bowl in a playoff game.
It was.
That was like what you would have hoped for a Super Bowl to be.
Yeah, the Super Bowl ain't going to be as good as that game was.
No way.
It'll be the fucking Chargers, the Rams, or is it the Rams?
Yeah, the Rams.
The Rams versus fucking the 49ers, and guarantee it right now. Call it.
Well, they're playing each other on Sunday.
Okay, so not the Rams. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm stupid. So
that weed kicking.
oh god,
Abbreviate that strong.
okay, I'm gonna take Stafford all the way. I just think Stafford's gonna take it. That's all.
For me, yeah, I would say though, like, who do you think would win between the Chiefs and the Bengals? I mean, Joe Burrow is kicking ass right now in the playoffs.
I still think the Chiefs have two weapons: Tyreek Hill, and then of course you got Mahomes.
I don't think it matters though. The Bengals are grinding it out, man.
Yeah, I would honestly, I would pick the Bengals in this situation. Just the way they're grinding and whatnot.
Would be hilarious.
You
know
what?
It'd just be hilarious to see like the Bengals go all the way.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You know what would be more
Oh,
hilarious? You know what would be more hilarious is if both the 49ers and the Bengals win on Sunday, and it would be the third time they met in the Super Bowl.
That would be
wow.
Yeah,
you know
because
what? I'll take the 49ers on that.
You would take the 49ers.
Yeah. Just because like I feel like they have the better fucking the better grind, get a win game. Like they made Rodgers look like nothing, man. They played like amazing. So
right,
absolutely.
But then you gotta look at what the Rams have right now. I mean, they are loaded.
Oh yeah. Holy crap.
Yeah, I think we all take a big fat L because most of us said Green Bay would go to the Super Bowl. And the only one that I think that said did not go with what we were predicting beforehand was Trevor, because he said the Rams were going to the Super Bowl. So far, he's probably been the most accurate of all of us that were doing the Super Bowl prediction a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't there for that, but I definitely wouldn't have said the Packers. I would have said fucking I either would have picked the Bills as the dark horse or would have picked the fucking Chiefs.
The Chiefs against the Packers, I would assume.
Yes.
That would have been your pick? Yeah. Since Green Bay got eliminated, everybody's like bracket just got screwed over entirely just because of how the Packers played and choked in the playoffs. So now there's a bunch of talk that Aaron Rodgers is not committed to a rebuild in Green Bay if that's the direction they're going to go. And plus, the Packers are not going to be able to afford pretty much everybody on the team because they're overdue $44 million in the cap. And Devontae Adams is a free agent at the end of the year. And Aaron Rodgers is probably going to demand a trade eventually.
You have a picture of the Bills were to pick up Devontae Adams?
They can't afford him, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, he's an expensive player.
Yeah, but there was that rumor this week, though, about Saquon Barkley.
Yes, I heard that one a little while back. I also heard Christian McCaffrey, but I think that died really quickly.
Yeah, but just think about it, though. If the Bills can get Saquon Barkley, that's an instant upgrade to the run game.
No, I laughed. I was getting off the
The Christian McCaffrey thing isn't happening in a million years.
Well, I don't think the Panthers would ever trade him, though. That's the thing. I mean, the problem
you have to get what the fucking farm do to get him. You'd have to.
Right.
Well, yeah, they'd have to. But you know what's really interesting that I heard, speaking of that? I've heard that there's talk that Carolina has very high interest in Kirk Cousins. That I've heard. Because they're trying to get rid of Darnold. So I think if they cut their costs with Darnold and then trade for Cousins, I think that would really benefit them. I also heard Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think that's going to work out too well.
Oh, that won't.
Oh, God, shut up. No,
it could be worse. Could be hiring Ben McAdoo as your offensive coordinator.
You can't.
Oh, gosh.
You can't. Okay. All right. Listen.
Yo, you know what? Hang on. Before you guys go on, did you guys saw Antonio Brown's recent tweet?
Oh, my God. Yes, I did.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that was
after what he did, I really can't see anybody picking him up. And just for the idea that he could possibly be going to the Ravens, oh gosh, have fun with that if that happens.
Well, the Ravens already have a little bit of a rebuilding project because they got rid of their defensive coordinator. So,
yeah, true. We'll see what happens.
Boy.
Yeah. Wait, so we were in the middle of a laugh with Ben McAdoo, and I was like, all right, shut up.
All right, Lewfie. Here's your 2 minutes to rant.
Okay, so I didn't think so going back to like the Sam Darnold thing, okay? I got over that. I was like, you know what? maybe he'll be something. No, I was right. I was fucking right the whole time. And I said, you know what? Sam Darnold's a fucking bum. He's not going to do anything. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, we're off to a 4-0 start. Oh, yeah. Oh, look what happened. He got injured, and then they brought back Cam Newton because, no other fucking option. Cam Newton came back. I love the guy. Fucking great. And then, then they're like, you know what? We need like the biggest bum as an offensive coordinator in the NFL to come into the Panthers and be like, you're the guy. You know what? There's nobody else. You're the guy. You could have picked up a Walmart greeter that would have had more fucking experience and more fucking progress than this fucking piece of shit. And but no, you're like, no, McAdoo. We're gonna bring this piece of shit in. Like, oh, what? Why? Because he's like, is it because he gives good head to management, or is it because he has the 12-inch penis, or what reason would they bring him in? I don't understand, and that's why I said to Bobby, I was like, you know what? I'm just fucking done. I'm sick of the fucking stupid management, stupid ownership, and the fucking McCaffrey being injured every fucking game, and then they bring him back because he's not. They're like, oh, we don't have a running back, so we'll bring him back when he's not 100% and injure him again, and then he's gonna be out for however fucking long again. So next season when he comes back, he'll be like probably 80% again, and then he'll get injured again. Or worst case scenario, he gets fucking traded. And if he gets traded, then like, fuck you, Panthers. I'm already done with you now. So yeah, good hire. Good hire, Panthers. You fucking retards.
Yeah, I just honestly find it so extraordinary that the fact that the Panthers picked Ben fucking McAdoo over Jay Gruden, over Pat Shermer. All these guys were better coordinator options than freaking Ben McAdoo. This is coming from a guy who was a head coach for the Giants 5 years ago and deliberately told them their game motive was basically Game of Thrones, reading a book, and talking about a lion that was old as shit and was continuously having sex with all the other lions.
What?
Yeah, true story. Yeah, that was a real thing. I swear to God, I'm not making that up. That was really a game day motivation for Ben McAdoo. Was he would tell a story about a lion who was older than all of us in animal world, and he would basically go on a crazed, addicted lion going around the jungle, just basically saying, if you go and have an intercourse with another lion, you'll feel the power, or something like that. I don't know. It was something that he was saying out of his ass that clearly didn't work out because they got blown out by the Rams that game.
Oh God.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
And then everybody wonders, like, hey Adam, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Okay, we just hired a fucking guy who likes bestiality.
Basically, but I'm curious though, like what they're gonna do in the QB situation, because Darnold clearly didn't work out. Cam Newton's washed up. So they have like 3 or 5 options. I mean, they could trade for Kirk Cousins. They could trade for Aaron Rodgers, which is probably not going to happen. They could draft Malik Willis out of Ole Miss. They could draft Kenny Pickett for all we know. The Panthers are outside of the top 10 again for a draft pick. So chances are they're going to have a lot of options. And I really don't know what their game plan is going forward. I don't know who they're going to pick as far as QB to make the play calls out of Ben McAdoo's stupidity. I honestly don't know what they're going to do. Because if Matt Rule does not make this work,
we're with him, we're basically going to go to a local Walmart and we're going to be like, hey, greeter, like, are you friendly? Yeah, okay, you're our next quarterback. That's what's going to happen.
Making Kurt Warner 2.0. That would be great. But no, in all seriousness, though, I do think that the Panthers need to get rid of Matt Rule because I think he's the problem because he's a college football coach. That's the thing that really bothers me about the Panthers is they went in and they got a highly talented coach in college from Baylor, I believe. and Matt Ruhle and thinking that they give him all the weapons in the world. They brought in the freaking coordinator and Joe Brady, who worked with Joe Burrow when he was at LSU, and then all of a sudden he gets fired and he didn't work out too well. And then they bring in Ben fucking McAdoo. I'm like, what is that gonna do?
It goes back to the owners, man. It doesn't go back to like the coach. Like he's absolute fucking garbage. But if you look at like, where's it like all stem from? It stem from the fucking owners.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying that they're just as innocent. I mean, I think they're just as guilty as the coaches, I think. Right. Because Dave Tepper might be a billionaire and might have the highest salary of any owner, but he doesn't do shit with it. That's the problem with Tepper. And just because you have all these assets, you have to make a foundation for it. And the problem I have with him as the owner is that he's not creating an identity. Like, what's their identity outside of McCaffrey?
They don't have one.
There isn't one. There isn't one. It used to be Luke Kuechly, and I hate that guy. Fucking hate that guy.
Which I still to this day don't understand. But
yeah,
that's
they had
fine.
Jeremy Shockey back in the day, and they got rid of him.
Bring back Steve Smith.
That's before my time of being a Panthers fan. I'm the latest for me was Luke Kuechly, and I fucking hated that fucking piece of shit.
Yeah. But there is hope for hope after all, Adam, because apparently if Jim Harbaugh were to leave Michigan and come back to the NFL, apparently Matt Ruhle has already said he wants the Michigan job.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, so that was in the sporting news actually yesterday. And one of the things that ended up coming out of it is that, of course, Harbaugh has been rumored to leave Michigan for several years now. But apparently he would totally be okay with a return to college. I mean, and the last time he coached was Baylor, but he would want that Michigan job. And that's reported by Jason La Canfora.
He's a college coach. He's not an NFL coach.
No, he's not. But if I'm being honest, if I'm the Panthers and if I'm the ownership of that team, I would take a good hard look at Jim Harbaugh. I honestly would.
100%. He's good.
I absolutely would take Jim Harbaugh if he's available. But the thing is, though, if he were to come back, he would want the Raiders job. That's the only thing. But I don't even know.
Didn't we just sign our fucking Matt Ruhle through like fucking 2022?
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that. I remember they signed him and it was a 7-year deal. So if they were to cut him now, I think they would have to pay him over $20-something million for the next like 4 years as the head coach or something.
I think they agreed to keep him on through the next season.
Yeah, because I think he has an opt-out in the 4th year, I think, if I remember correctly. But regardless of how they look at it, I think he wants to leave Charlotte. And I think that's why he ultimately took the job when he first got hired, was he knew the bonus and he knew the opportunity. And he said, I'm going to take what I can and run with it. And then bring in a different coach and then go from there. Because I think by that point, the Panthers will have a different identity from a different coach by that point. Because I think they have to retweak the team. I don't think they should rebuild it. I think they have to rebuild the offense. I think the defense is pretty stellar.
Yeah. Oh, defense is great. I wouldn't change the defense at all.
Right.
No, that's what I'm saying.
They've got to retool.
Yeah, the defense. Like the Panthers.
It's the fucking running back. McCaffrey's hurt. We don't have a run game. And when Moore's not in this game, then we're hurt too because we don't have a good receiver. So it's It's a couple of key pieces we need.
And it's stressful, and I can understand.
Plus a fucking quarterback that's not Sam Darnold and Cam Newton that's like fucking 100 years old.
Now, let me ask you this then. Like, what would you say, honestly, if they were to trade for someone like Kirk Cousins?
Oh, I'd take him in a heartbeat.
Oh, there you go. Because he's possibly available. I found out earlier that Deshaun Watson is still available, and the Giants are not going to commit to him because they said already that they're committing to Daniel Jones. So there's definitely a possibility. So what we know about Watson is not going to Miami, and he's not going to the Giants. So, and he's definitely not going back to Houston. So I would say Carolina's definitely in the running for him at this point. They have to.
I feel like the Watson sweepstakes is already over. I don't think the Panthers are going to be like as interested as they were before. And I feel like you have a guy like you have Kirk Cousins coming up. he's available, I feel like they grab him before they even like try to pursue Watson again.
Yeah, and I also have to think that other QBs will likely be available. Like Ben Roethlisberger's retiring. Aaron Rodgers is supposedly available if the Packers decide to trade him, but I think he's going to go out west to like Denver or something. And Devontae Adams would be part of the package. As it's kind of like with Brady and Gronk when they both went to Tampa. If wherever Brady goes, Gronk goes. So it's kind of the same thing with Rodgers. Is wherever Rodgers goes, Devontae Adams goes with him.
Yeah. Well, I just don't think Rodgers is the quarterback we need. He's a great quarterback, but I just don't think that's the quarterback we need. I think Cousins would be a better fit for sure.
Yeah. Now, what about if they draft someone like Kenny Pickett out of Pitt? Like, would you be okay with that if they drafted a quarterback in the first round?
They should have drafted a quarterback last year.
No. They drafted a corner. They drafted J.C. Horn, and then he tore his ACL.
No, we should have had Zach Wilson. I said the last draft. We should have had Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I agree. They should have had Wilson. And I also would have said that they were also opening the idea of Justin Fields, but obviously he went to the Bears. So
yeah, I definitely would have. I would have took Zach Wilson. That's what I would have done. You know, other than the stupid idea to fucking trade for Sam Darnold. But you know, what do I know?
Oh man,
right. It's definitely going to be an interesting offseason for them for sure. And I think they're one of the top teams in the league with the most cap. I think they have like an estimate of like around 45 to 50 million in cap. So Carolina's going to have a lot to play with this offseason. And plus, you know, like I said, if they cut their losses on Darnold and get Kirk Cousins, then there's definitely a chance for some sort of improvement.
Right. Or, I mean, even in the draft, I mean, you could always look at Matt Corral or Malik Willis coming out this year, too, because, I mean, both of them are dual threat quarterbacks, kind of like Cam Newton. And, I mean, the difference is, I mean, they've got some pretty decent size to them. I mean, they're like 6'1", respectively, and they're both around 215, 220. So, I mean, they have the ability. And of course, with Matt Corral, I mean, he was coached by Lane Kiffin, so that's a big plus. And then when you look at Malik Willis, he's coming out of a smaller school with Liberty, but at the same time, he ended up playing for Auburn previously and also ended up working with former Ole Miss coach Hugh Freeze. So, I mean, there's a lot of upside to the two of them. And, I mean, both of them could be a good fit, especially since they can open up the field. I mean, Pickett's another good option, as you were mentioning, too. And actually, he's probably the best prospect overall, even though he's considered, like, top 3.
But here's my problem, okay? So like Bobby said earlier about how I don't think the Panthers are like should go into full rebuild mode right now. So we have like the pieces in play, but if you go and draft a rookie quarterback right now, you might as well just say, hey, you know what? We're gonna turn the team upside down and we're gonna rebuild. But if you bring in someone like you bring in Cousins, then you have your quarterback. And all you need to do is address the fucking McCaffrey injury issues and your fucking wide receiver. And once you have that and you have a good quarterback, then like you go from like winning 4 games to 10 overnight. I think they have enough key pieces to do that. I feel like if they draft a rookie quarterback right now, you might as well rebuild the team.
Yeah, at this point, it's just kind of like out of the park kind of thing. And I'm actually on sporttrack.com. And just as I predicted, the Panthers are in the top 20 for the most salary cap. And as of now, the Panthers have an active of $185 million. And the dead cap is only $7 million. So that's not too much. But as in total in the 51 cap, they have around $20 million to play with going into the offseason. So they're at like the 17th overall. So going in would be Miami, the Chargers, Jacksonville, Cincinnati, the Jets, Denver, Indianapolis, Seattle, the Washington No Names, the Bears, the Steelers, Lions, Browns, Raiders, Texans, Chiefs, Panthers, Eagles, Buccaneers, and the Ravens. That's the top 20 right there for most salary cap. But Carolina should be all right. I mean, I think, again, if they cut their losses on Darnold, they'll be way over like 2/3 of these clubs.
Yeah, send Darnold back to the Jets. Get fucked.
I don't understand why they got him in the first place. I mean, even when they made that trade, I was like, oh my God, what are they doing? I mean, I really thought Adam, and I apologize. I really do. I really thought Darnold was going to be really good on Carolina because I thought it was just from the buck fumbling of the from Adam Gase with the Jets. I thought it was just a dead problem.
No,
But it turns out-
he's just a bum. He's just a bum of a quarterback. I told you that.
Yeah, I know. But before that, I thought that maybe because sometimes, certain changes of scenery tend to happen. And then some players just like literally go off on certain
It's
teams.
hard to tell if someone's good on the Jets.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I was gonna say if only Teddy Bridgewater could blow out his knee. So, but there was actually another thing I want to get into too, and of course, I know Akeem's actually still with us, so if you call in 929-205-6099. And there was actually an interesting development that came out late yesterday. Sean Payton, why are you walking away from the New Orleans Saints with hopes of trying to go to Dallas?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Boy.
I can tell you one thing: the Saints are definitely done. And
Yeah.
they're not even close.
They're back to square one.
Right.
They have no choice.
It's the end. It's the end of the Breeze and the Peyton era is done. It's all over now.
Yep.
Yeah, 16 plus years of Sean Payton. I mean, and apparently he just wants to take a break from football. And I mean, I get it. I mean, you've been the head coach for that long. Granted, you had Drew Brees for most of your time down there, and then of course you got a Super Bowl title, which is good. I mean, that was the feel good story of the year after Hurricane Katrina when the Saints came back and won the title. But Sean Payton, if you think that Jerry Jones is getting rid of Mike McCarthy that quick, it ain't happening.
Yeah, and another problem is this. And another problem is the Saints are $71 million in dead cap. So they have the worst. They have the worst cap situation of any team in the league this year, and probably for the next decade. So the Saints, the Saints can only do so much.
Yeah, they're in football.
They're screwed.
They are screwed long term. I mean, this is also what happens when you invest so much on one player, and that's exactly what the Saints did. Is they invested so much on Drew Brees, and they were so desperate that they became the Green Bay Packers in the last 15 years, always choking in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, that was like
But
when
at
the
the same time, though, like Drew
Darius.
Brees. It's Drew Brees, though. Like nobody in their right mind would have said, "No, Drew Brees, I'm not going to pay you money," because
he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, to be honest with you. I mean, and it's funny while we're talking about the Packers, them and the Saints and the Cowboys, those are the three worst contracts in the league. I would also say the Giants and the Vikings are in this list as well. So that's your top 5 worst cap situations in the entire league. But the Saints have like the worst of all of them. So here's the problem with the Saints. They want to rebuild, but they can't do it without going under the cap or over the cap because they have so much cap that they have to get rid of within the next decade. $71 million is a lot of money. And the only way they can do it is if they get rid of guys like Alvin Kamara or Michael Thomas. That's really the only thing they could really do. Because if Alvin Kamara is that committed to staying in New Orleans, fine with me. But I can certainly tell you the Saints are not going anywhere with what they got right now. No Sean Payton, no Drew Brees. They're going to just be another run-of-the-mill team in the next few years.
You might as well just dump off what you have right now and just hope in the next 5 years you're relevant again.
Yeah, this whole thing's not going to work out for New Orleans. But as far as the Sean Payton rumor about him going to Dallas, honestly, I would not be surprised because I've heard people say that Mike McCarthy should have been fired immediately within the first 2 months when he first got the job because there was a dispute with them and the players at the time. And then it kind of just stuck with what they had and they made the playoffs and it was just all hunky-dory at that point. And then they're like, ooh, Sean Payton's available. So now they're contemplating about getting rid of Mike McCarthy just to bring in Sean Payton, but he's already said he's not interested in coaching.
Yeah, and then of course, if that were to happen, then look at all the money that they owed Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, they're screwed either way. Either way, they're screwed. So it doesn't really matter. You can't fix what can't be fixed. So
no, at this point, the Saints are done. I mean, the only thing we'll have is just Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. But I would love for the Bills to trade for Kamara if they make him available, but I doubt it.
Well, they have to though. If not, they're fucked. So they have to make someone available, right? You got to get something. They got to get something to keep going. They can't be they have to build for the future now. So they have to be like the Penguins in the 90s. They have to build.
Mhm.
Right. And they only build the Penguins in the 90s, they built their salary because there was no salary cap. So they were able to do whatever they want, bringing in guys like Ron Francis, Yarmer Yager, Tom Barrasso, and all those guys.
Yeah, but they were so bad at one point that like they were like the laughing stock of the NHL. And then like, oh, would you know, like fucking years later, like the best team in the fucking league. But that's what has to happen, right?
Yeah.
It all began with purposely taken from Mario Lemieux.
Yep. So the same thing could be applied here with the New Orleans Saints. Like they never had a legit quarterback outside of Archie Manning, but Archie Manning, even that, was not that great. But Drew Brees is arguably the best QB they've ever had, even if he was a free agent from the Chargers. It doesn't matter. I mean, he's been like 15 years in New Orleans and done great things for them, no question. But at this point now, the Saints have to find their own identity, and that's going to be a big problem for them.
Yep.
It's insane, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
think about
how
it
much
a couple
further
years ago with Kamara wanting out of New Orleans.
I don't know. I'm really.
He'll be the first one to go. If somebody goes, it'll be him.
Mhm.
Just to like build picks or whatever. I just think Kamara would be the first one to go.
Yeah, I can't vision him being there long enough because I think he's going to want to win. So I think Kamara would be great for Buffalo, but I think they have other ideas.
Right. Well, think about it. If we're going to get Kamara and then pair him up with Devin Singletary, which, I mean, at least the Bills did one thing right, and they finally got that damn run game going at least like the last game of the season and then in the playoffs. At least they finally got it running. But throw Kamara in there, that's a very nice upgrade. Then get rid of Zach Moss.
Dude,
Yeah,
that guy would get you. That guy would get you the first down you always miss. He would get you that first down that you need.
Mhm.
Like that's the guy you want on your team.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I would take Alvin Kamara in a heartbeat if he were available.
Yeah, and I was actually just going to ask if the Bills were to pursue Alvin Kamara, who would we be giving up? Who would be giving up for?
So get rid of Zach Moss first thing.
I don't think you'd have to give up too much, to be honest, because a team like that, it being like pretty much rebuild mode, knowing they're fucked, they'll pretty much take what they can get.
I would say, yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know. I feel like Zach Moss would be a good starter.
He would be, but he's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what they're going to do with Moss going forward. But if I'm the Saints, my asking price would start with a first round pick. No question.
Oh, yeah. You're definitely going to involve picks. Definitely.
You'll definitely get at least one number one out of it.
I mean, at this point, they'd have to. I mean, either way, the Saints are screwed. So it's not like they can go out and on a killing spree and just spend all this money on free agents, because that's the mistake they made. The Saints, are way over the cap, and they won't be out of cap hell for another decade. So the Saints, they're going to try to be competitive, but they're not going to be as good as people will remember them with Drew Brees. It's just very simple.
Probably even throw like a Matt Breida in there as an option.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe. And speaking of trade rumors, did you hear the comments that were made from the Miami Dolphins with an unknown Dolphins player who said, if I'm going to stay in Miami with Tua as the QB, why am I staying here? Did you see that?
I didn't. So actually,
no, I didn't.
Yeah, I can actually pull up this quote right now, and I saved it because I knew that it was going to come up. And this was on Saturday, and it was quoted by a Dolphins defender from Omar Kelly, who covers the Miami Herald. He said in a quote, he's, as in Tua, only going to take us so far. I'm wasting my career here if that's what we're doing.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
who might that have been?
Yeah, I have to think that's Xavier Howard. I have to think that is.
He's the most outspoken spoken person on the team, so I'm going to assume it's him.
Yeah, and considering he's one of the best corners in the league, I'm not surprised by this one bit. He's been bitching about the Dolphins for at least 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's honestly insane. Like I don't even know what's going to happen with the Dolphins. I mean, it really depends who the coach is. I mean, if it's Daboll, then I think there's a pretty decent chance Tua could be good, but I don't think so because I think it's way too late into his rebuild or into this career, contract. So I really don't know what's going to happen. But as far as Miami's concerned, they were already dumb enough by getting rid of Brian Flores. That, like, Britt and I were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and we both said, what Miami did was just beyond stupid.
Yeah, it has to be the stupidest firing I've seen in at least the last few years. I mean, Flores actually made Miami respectable. And look at how the Dolphins have played the last few years. They've been playoff contenders. They've been to that point where they can get in, and they just needed that extra push to get into the playoffs. And even this year, after starting 1-7, and the fact that they ended up ripping off 7 straight games and they ended up getting the wins, and they were that close to being in the playoffs again, and then you decide to fire them. I mean, I'm sorry, but the Miami owner is smoking crack.
It's
so
just dumb. It's just corporate bullshit, man.
Here's the thing. I've heard this is a possible reason why he got fired. From what I've heard, he was talking smack about one of his own players or something like that. I don't know if it's true, but at the end of the day, man, I don't care what kind of drama that they had with him. The fact is, this man gave this team back-to-back winning seasons, and you're just gonna release him, just gonna kick him out like that? That's nonsense, man. That's freaking garbage, man. This is square one for them. Literally the same thing with the Saints. Miami's going back to square one doing this.
Mm-hmm. Well, they pulled off a Jacksonville Jaguars move. Is basically what they did. And then speaking about that, I mean, Byron Leftwich is basically the next head coach of the Jaguars, as it looks right now.
Yeah, I saw a tweet about that. Actually, good for him though, for real.
Now, is that confirmed though? Is that confirmed? Because apparently they had an interview with Nate Hackett today.
So right now, Leftwich is the definite clear-cut front runner. In terms of anything else that's come out, let's see.
I mean, but again, it brings up. I think we can all agree that what the Dolphins did was really.
So it looks here's what came out 35 minutes ago, and this is from Pro Football Network. So the Jaguars are going to interview Nate Hackett again, but the other thing that they are saying though is that right now Leftwich is the front runner, and there may be a deal that gets done.
We will see, because again, I think what the Jaguars are doing is hopefully they get it right, because they've been bad for a while now, for 5 years. They need to go back to 2017 form. They have to.
Yeah. And then also some interesting comments came out about who Leftwich would possibly have on his staff. So one of the things that they had with several sources is that Tampa Bay Bucks outside linebackers coach Larry Foote and wide receivers coach Kevin Garver would be part of the staff.
We'll see what happens, because I've actually seen rumors about the Giants, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But as far as that goes, I've heard that if the Giants get Brian Daboll, this is what I heard. Ken Dorsey is going to be the offensive coordinator, and Wink Martindale is going to be the defensive coordinator for the Giants.
I would take Martindale up here if they ever get rid of Frazier, if he's around.
No, at this point, I think what they did on Sunday, defensively, I think Frazier blew his chances.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely not getting another interview as far as we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know at this point. But the bottom line, though, I think is there's going to be a lot of coaching jobs available that it could be in the running. But again, Miami literally screwed up big time by getting rid of Flores. I mean, imagine if the Sabres at one point in their lives ever had a back-to-back winning seasons and make the playoffs, would be or on the verge of making the playoffs, you're oh, you're going to get fired, whoever that coach would be at the time. Imagine how stupid that would be. So not only do I think getting rid of Flores was ridiculously stupid, but I also think that it's going to kill off free agents from having to join Miami.
Oh, well, it will. I mean, who wants to go to Miami right now after all this?
Honestly, nobody.
Right? Nobody.
Yeah.
At least the temperature is nice.
Hey, there's Mr. Danny DeVito, a.k.a. Aaron Dell, who just got suspended 3 games for that goaltender interference hit.
Did he get 3 games?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got 3.
I knew it. I knew he was going to get at least 2 or 3. I didn't see it come out yet, but
Yeah,
Yeah, and the Sabres are even more in goaltender hell at this point.
yeah.
Oh,
Sean,
Anderson's back.
Sean, did you see that clip though with Aaron Dell?
I did not.
He's a
you guys-
goon, man.
Yeah,
Definitely
he literally
watch it.
threw it. Yeah, go back and watch the clip. It's Aaron Dell got suspended 3 games for throwing a check at Derek Batherson. And because of that hit, Derek Batherson now has to pull himself out from the NHL All-Star game and it has to be replaced by Brady Tkachuk.
Oh wow.
Not a bad replacement.
Yeah, Brady Kachuk's a good player.
Is Adam still here?
I think he dropped off. Hey, Lewfie, if you're still here, definitely jump back on.
Yeah, I think he's gone.
Yeah. Well, I think part of his connection was starting to go a little bit also, but in either case, so we've got you on, Andy. So a couple of things. Obviously, right now the Sabres suck. We know that. UPL's on IR.
Yeah.
Literally, our goaltending core is completely decimated. Literally, this season's
Yeah, it's
gone.
just like last year.
Yeah, and we got
Just like
shut out by
last year.
Ottawa 5-0.
Yeah, that game sucked.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. At this point, I'm just like, whatever with the Sabres. I mean, until things change, until they get healthy and actually be young and competitive, then what's the point? I mean, they already kind of, I will say though, Alex Tonka's turned out pretty damn well for himself. I mean, when he got traded from Vegas to Buffalo, he's actually turned out to be a pretty good player.
Yeah, and Payton Krebs has actually been playing pretty well.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's one of the fastest players to ever get reduced at around 10 points per game since he got traded to a new team. I think he's up in the same category as Pat LaFontaine.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, or something like that. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I saw that stat the other day, and I'm just like, well, that's pretty impressive and all, but it doesn't change the fact the Sabres still suck.
Yeah. I was actually debating, honestly, if I wanted to go to that April 1st game where Rick Jeanneret's getting retired in the rafters.
Well, I already said this before, earlier, and I got berated for it. And that was that I wish him all the best, and he's going to retire eventually at some point. And I know what I'm going to say, but I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to bother.
No, don't bother. Stop talking about it. We already went after you last time, me and Adam. So just leave it there.
Actually, all of us did.
it was that conversation is dead. Let's keep it there.
Yeah.
You jerk.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I still stand by it though. So I will say that.
Oh shoot.
No, you just can't just leave it there.
So have you listened to Rick Jeanneret
hold on.
lately? I mean,
Sean's got some news here.
Yeah,
What?
so yeah, real quick. So I just looked on Twitter and under Pro Football Talk Twitter page, an article just came out a couple hours ago that Chiefs fans donate $255,000 to Buffalo Children's Hospital as show of respect.
Oh, how cute. Something the Bills started 5 years ago with the Bengals. Now they're just continuing a trend. Next.
That's that feel bad money.
Yeah.
Did you see how many increments? $13.
$13.
The Mahomes number.
$13.
It feels more like a slap in the face than a donation.
But I will say this though, at least they are giving it to Children's, and it is going to that, and I think it is going to that Patricia Ellen fund, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Rick Jeanneret's going to die eventually.
Well, actually,
Shut
they
up.
were going to donate to Patrick Mahomes.
You fucking
They were going
douchebag.
to donate to Patrick Mahomes charity, and then someone's like, "Oh, we heard we should do this because we're a nice fan base."
Mhm.
And
I'll take
donate
I'll take the game.
I've been doing that
than
for how long?
$13.
Yeah.
Well, security at Arrowhead says that we're the best fan base in all of pro sports, so at least that's a compliment.
Of course they'll say that.
Still doesn't erase the 13 seconds.
Yeah.
Dude, you missed like an entire segment of us talking about that game, man.
Oh, I know. It's going to be the motto till next season because they screwed up that bad with the clock management. They screwed up. They know they did.
Right.
It's just that.
Yeah.
simple.
And that's why I was saying to the boys is that I don't think Leslie Frazier is getting a head coaching job anytime soon. Unless someone is so desperate for a coach like Leslie Frazier, someone will hire him. I could see New Orleans now getting Frazier. That's a possibility. But I think the job at the end of the day is going to go to Dennis Allen. I just firmly believe that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had a quick question with the Brian Daboll stuff. So
Yeah, go for it.
if somehow, some way, Brian Daboll does get a head coaching job, who do we have to replace him as our new OC?
Do you want my honest opinion about this? Honestly,
Yeah.
let's go. I'm going to tell you my first one. The one I think that could take the job, could actually be a good coordinator to me, is Matt Nagy. I'm not going to lie.
Interesting take.
Yeah, Matt Nagy is an offensive guru. And I think, if I remember correctly, let me look on his Wikipedia page. I'm pretty sure he was Patrick Mahomes' coordinator.
You can't trust anything
year.
on Wikipedia these days.
Yeah, I know, but that's the best and quickest way to get around. So let's see. He was I was correct. He was the quarterbacks coach for the Kansas City Chiefs from 2013 to 15. And then he became the Chiefs offensive coordinator from 2016 to 17. And from that on, he became the head coach of the Chicago Bears in 2018.
Oh, he's familiar with Mahomes.
Brandon Bean said he has a list of people both internally and externally.
Wait a minute.
So-
Matt Nagy played for the New York Dragons?
Who the fuck cares?
They do now.
I do. No, I do, because that was an arena football team in my area at one point. Yeah, he played for the New York Dragons, and he was the quarterback, I think. No, he was not a quarterback. He was a what the hell was he? What position was Matt Nagy? Yeah, he was a quarterback. My God, that's awesome. And he played for the Carolina Cobras. And he played for the Georgia Force and the Columbus Destroyers. And he got a quick stint with the Eagles.
Bunch of teams in the league that nobody cares about. Next.
Yeah. You don't miss the Buffalo Destroyers? You don't miss them?
No, I really don't. Arena football wasn't all that great for me. Sorry, but I'll take the roller hockey team. I think.
Buffalo Wings back in like the early 90s when Rob Ray coached them.
Yeah, I'll take that, and I'll take the Blizzard, but I don't. Arena football really did nothing for me.
I will say when Rob, just like going back to nostalgia here, when Rob Ray coached the Buffalo Wings, man, it was like fun watching him get animated on the bench. And he had to be bleeped out a bunch of times too, like because he would like totally go to bat for his team and he'd be screaming his head off at everybody.
You know what? I really hope that the Arena Football League comes back with better teams and all that stuff. What was I going to say? I really hope one day that they consider bringing back the New York Dragons and have them play at UBS Arena. That would be freaking awesome. Is have the Dragons play again, and from when they were at the Nassau Coliseum, have them come back, bring back Sparky the Dragon as his actual colors, not the stupid blue and orange colors that they have for him the last 20 years almost. I'm talking about like legit, like a legit dragon. That's what I think they should do.
It's an interesting way to look at it. You just hope though that nobody ends up kicking a ball in that new scoreboard at UBS, which is like the biggest in the state.
I don't know. We'll see. I doubt it. But...
Although someone actually ended up hitting the scoreboard at AT&T Stadium a couple weeks ago on a punt. So again, it hasn't happened in a while, but someone hit the bottom of the scoreboard again.
Yeah. I have a question for everybody. What was your AFL team, like arena football team in your area?
Well,
you mean like our favorites or?
No, like what team was in there? Like I said before, I had the New York Dragons.
Georgia Force.
Yeah, we
Georgia
had
Force.
Destroyers.
Yeah, I miss those days, man. I really do. You had the Force, you had the Destroyers, and I had the Dragons.
And then my family in Nashville had the Nashville Cats back then. So
yeah, the San Jose Saber Cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember the and one more thing about arena football is, did you ever guys play the Arena Football League game on the PS2?
No, I never did.
I have not.
Really?
Shoot, I don't think I even had the PS2 at that time.
Damn. And I just recently discovered that the AFL closed in 2019.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Damn,
On to
man.
the NFL.
I miss those teams. I miss watching the AFL. I really do. So is there anything else you guys want to say before we wrap up the show?
One last thing that is coming up. I know we haven't talked a lot about hockey recently, but the Heritage Classic is going to be coming up in March, actually. And one piece of news that actually ended up coming out is that it is being the time is being moved. So it is going to be at 4 p.m. on March 13th, and that'll be with the Leafs and the Sabres playing, and that'll be up at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton. So that's one little change that they've had there, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I was gonna say was, I know that they changed the time for within an hour, but at this point, because of all the restrictions in Canada about COVID, I honestly would just push the game back within 1 year.
Well, I mean, when the Sabres played the Senators the other night, they had absolutely nobody in the stands.
Yeah, but they also play in the Leafs, so does that help a little bit?
Yeah, but they did that big lockdown again up there, so
I don't know. I'm just trying to throw ideas around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But right
I
now,
don't know how that's gonna play out.
yeah. Just right now, Sabres are hurt as a team. I mean, but their goaltending, oh my lord, they got to get that fixed in the offseason, because it's just a lot of these games are unwatchable.
Yeah, at this point, I don't really care what the Sabres do unless they make improvements and make like a trade. I mean, I'll watch, like, I don't get as excited. I mean, I love hockey. I love the Sabres, but it's like, for me, they make it so hard for me to watch them and actually care for them, because if they're not going to care, then why should we?
Yeah, it's something we've actually covered over the years when we've done a bunch of podcasts together. It's I remember those words when Terry Pagula bought the team. Our goal is to win a Stanley Cup. Obviously, you don't have that goal, because here we are almost 11 years later, and you still haven't won a cup, and you haven't done anything to improve the team. You've actually made it go backwards.
Yeah, at this point, until they actually make a change, I really don't give a shit what they do. Because all they're doing is just destroying their own identity.
Yeah, I feel like they just focus more on the Bills than pay no attention to the Sabres.
That is basically what happens, and unfortunately, they will still not hire a president of hockey operations. I mean, God, I've ranted about that so many times over the last 5 years. It's not even funny.
Yeah. So we were watching a Urinate Tree video about the Bills and Sabres, and Urinate Tree made a comment that made Brittany really laugh, and that was that he was comparing the Bills and Sabres, and he called the Bills their model citizens.
Oh,
I think I remember that video.
Yeah,
I think I saw that video
Yeah.
way long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
But one last thing, actually, I was thinking of too, and I wanted to get your all of your guys' opinion on this. So there's been a lot of talk back and forth of the top 10 QBs in the league, and a lot of people have had the opinion that after the game we saw this past weekend, that Mahomes and Allen are like 1A and 1B, kind of similar to when McJesus and Jack Eichel came out in the draft, basically being your top 2 players. And then there's also some in their top 5 list. I mean, they'll throw, it's like Mahomes, and they'll throw like Aaron Rodgers, Brady, and Allen as a top 4, which that's a good top 4. I could totally see that. But then the people I have to wonder, though, why would some people put Dak Prescott over Allen, put Russell Wilson over Allen? Joe Burrow, I think, is like one step below Allen, but still top 5. But then for some people to say that Stafford's immensely better than Allen, and then to even see some other crazy QBs, even like Zach Wilson, be better, not even close. And then Lamar Jackson, some people saying he's better too, and I don't think Lamar Jackson's even as good as Allen.
At this point, I saw a poll for the what's the word I'm looking for the Pro Bowl when the votes came out. At one point, they said Josh Allen was in the AFC polls. And then when the final roster came out, it said that Lamar Jackson made the Pro Bowl over Josh Allen. And that was at the fact when he was injured. And I'm like, why would you rig the Pro Bowl voting ballots when you knew full well Josh Allen was having a better year than Lamar Jackson? Right.
It makes no sense. I mean, Lamar Jackson had one good season where he was the MVP. Other than that, what has he done that's special?
Nothing.
Other than win the 2019 honors, then I really don't think that's much you can really say. But here's a really interesting question for you guys. For me, at least, for the last one for the night for me, is with Allen now being in this category, do you guys think that Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are the next Brady versus Manning.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of
100%
people
agree.
have been saying that.
And you know
As
what?
my friend said,
That's gonna be a fun rivalry to watch.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
Mahomes is big bro and Josh Allen is little bro right now.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, that's
Bro
also what
versus
happens
bro.
when you don't adjust the overtime rules. Then that's probably what happens.
Listen, time rules, people are gonna whine and cry about it. It happens every year.
Mhm.
Well, dude,
Every
we've
year.
all
We
dude,
would
they're
be
already
doing this-
contemplating about changing the rules regardless of it. So it's like
The Chiefs had it done to them a couple years ago, and then their fans whine. We would be in our glory, and those Chiefs fans would be whining like we are about those overtime rules. So, I mean, it is what it is right now.
I mean, it's not just Bills fans that are complaining about it because it's like everybody across the league is saying it. It's like, dude, I saw one comment that said, I'm a Patriots fan and I love watching Josh Allen play, but I think the rules should be fixed so that way one team can get an opportunity to score at least get a drive in overtime. That's what I think a lot of people were contemplating on.
Yeah, give each team a
I
drive.
understand the argument.
Mhm.
Yes, I mean, I even agreed. I mean, how many times are you going to tweak this overtime? I mean, if they would have held them to a field goal, Buffalo would have got the ball back
Right.
and had a chance. So, I mean,
hmm
what do you want? I mean, do you want to score a touchdown and then go back and see if you can hold them? And if they get nothing out of it, okay, then you win. Okay, I understand the argument if that's what they want to say to get the other team on the field to have a chance.
Well,
It's the fact that that works fine in dandy. The overtime rule works fine in dandy in a regular season when it can end in a tie. But for playoffs, something has to be changed where one person has to be declared a winner at the end of the time. So something has to change with that.
They had 13 seconds to put that game away. They fucked up. They didn't do it.
Well, again, that's what happened. I think there's a
They
big
could have
thing.
had that game done and sealed
Mhm.
by doing what they should have done, and they cost them. You don't give these quarterbacks time to do anything, and we all know what happened. We all know what the coaching staff screwed up on.
Yep.
It is what it is. And on all honesty, it shouldn't have went to overtime. So
Mhm.
they did
Yeah.
to themselves.
Yeah. Well, there is one thing that will be interesting, though, and we'll cover this in another episode. But the 2022 the NFL draft, when that comes up, we had a fun year last year with that, and of course we ended up doing some. I think we actually did run a live show during that where we were looking at the picks and everything else, and we were on for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
When that comes up, though, I mean that'll be fun to take a look and see who could we possibly go for.
I've already been looking.
Mhm.
I've already dove into it.
We'll definitely do an episode on that for sure.
Yep, absolutely. So basically what we'll do from here, of course, we talked a lot about football tonight, and that's probably what we're going to do for a while. So, of course, thanks again for joining us. I know, Akeem, you commented quite a bit tonight, so, thanks for jumping in. Feel free to call in sometime. And then for all of us, hey, it was a heartbreaking loss, but, we're definitely a playoff team now. So that being said, at least the Buccaneers are out. So I'll end on that
Yes.
note.
Yes.
Bye-bye, Brady.
Go 49ers.
Yeah. Take care of yourselves and everybody. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Later.
Buffalo After Dark is an H&H Studio production and is produced in partnership with Horns & Hooves Entertainment.